leave my family.
Well, hey Tony, hey Bobs, I'm Terrell with Big Gold Belt Media. How you doing today?
Awesome.
Doing good, Terrell. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I've had the opportunity to check out some of season two of WondLa. Tony, I'm new to this series, so doing my homework, realize it's a book trilogy, and when I see that, I get nervous. Especially when companies pick this stuff up because you want to see that stuff get finished to for completely, and when stuff is left on the cliffhanger, active readers tend to get a little bit mad. So here's my first question to both of you.
Okay.
Adapting this series from the books now, and I checked out some of the art style. What made you choose this particular style of animation versus what you had in the books? Because I was expecting a little bit more, how do I say this, like cartoonish look to it. Like what made you choose the style?
It's a good question.
I mean, well, I can talk about when we, first of all, like Tony, Tony's been with us on the journey the whole way. So we didn't just sort of like,
I noticed that's rare.
Yeah. Thanks for the book. See you later. So yeah, we're super collaborative in our process at Skydance in regards to like bringing in, sharing ideas with everybody. And, but there was from the outset, we did want to aim for sort of a feature quality look of the show when we to realize the Tony's world, because it's so big. I mean, there's so much in season one, and then season two, it continues to explore new environments and new characters and things like that. So aiming for sort of a feature quality look for the show was one of the ways, one of the sort of North Stars for us. The second was, and Tony can speak to this, sometimes the designs were almost like super inspired by the book and almost a one for one from the book, and then sometimes we would stray away, but it wasn't just a random decision. It was always based on what's best for the story or what's best for us realizing the story. So yeah, feature quality show, feature quality look of picture, to really,
but on a television budget, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the magic trick.
To really do right by Tony's world. But then Tony, you want to speak to about sort of some of the design choices we made?
Well, I think I know what you're driving at, Terrell, and I think you're referring to almost like the 2D style animation, like what Disney used to do or stuff like that, which it does. If you were to look at my illustrations in the book, that would seem like the logical way to animate it. The thing is that the team at Skydance is kind of comprised, it's like a super group that's kind of comprised of uh, people from Disney Features Animation, Pixar, DreamWorks, Blue Sky, and these people have made some of my favorite, animated movies and television series over the years. And so, but they're also really good, exceptional at taking a story, even one that's kind of, let's be honest, a little strange and weird, like WondLa is, right? It has strange creatures, and making it appealing for a bigger audience. And so part of that is having discussions on how do we take a sci-fi fantasy story about a girl that grows up in an underground bunker on a terraformed Earth that's now been colonized by aliens. You see how it gets more and more nerdier and weird. And so I think the idea of animating in what Bob's is calling kind of the traditional, what I'd say now traditional feature style, was the right decision to make. Because I think if we had done it in another style, what I dare say like a more niche style, I think it would have been a smaller audience that we would have reached. And so, but it's a tough decision. Those aren't easy decisions to make. And like Bob said, it's a long conversation, and it's an ongoing conversation that started what, in 2019, I think, however long we've been working on this thing. So, it's evolves and it grows, and here we are.
I'll pop in there.
Yeah.
All that said, whatever your look of picture is, 2D feature, it doesn't matter if there's not depth of storytelling, a depth of character. And Tony provided not so many themes, a wealth of riches in regards to themes and characters, and that we obviously are again, you adapting, you're maybe making some adjustments, but we're really trying to stay true to.
It's funny. Like I said, I started watching this. I was like, Apple is awfully generous to this show. Like this is some good animation here. like you don't see that with especially. I don't want to say this is like a children's show because like with the style of writing, it doesn't talk down to the audience. You know what I mean? Like it's not like back in the day, like the 90s, where I'm like, man, this probably wasn't a children's demographic. How did this get on the 10 o'clock a.m. Time slot? But no, this hits a lot of stuff from home for me personally. Like I said, finding family and adapting to your surroundings, and and figuring out a lot of stuff. Talking to Gary Anthony Williams yesterday. He is on board 100%. You know what I mean? Like he was all in. I feel like he, just reading the script, he was like, okay, yeah, I can get with this, and that leads into my next question, as far as like the casting for the characters, because everybody fits who they're supposed to be perfectly. From what I'm like, okay, Brad Garrett, okay, I can see that. I can see Gary as this character. I can see, Eva. Everybody fits perfect. How long was the casting process for you before you was like, okay, this is it. Who I want these characters to be?
Well, from a casting standpoint, the way we cast, we sort of blind cast in the sense that we put up a drawing of the character or drawings of the character, and then we all get in a room and we listen to voices, and we don't even know who they are. We have like a sheet of paper that says 1 through 10. Here's the 10 people we're thinking about for this, and we all listen to it and we try to determine, like, does it feel like that voice is emanating from that character? It's not about is that right for that character, and then you kind of it's like the dating game. Then you find out, oh, who it was. That's interesting. But that way we start with not kind of not thinking about anything but the character, not celebrity or non-celebrity, whatever it is. We really think about, does that feel like that character? Is that going to give that character a soul? Is that going to make you, the audience, forget it's an alien or whatever it is, and just associate it with that's a person, that's an emoting character. And so that's the beginning of it. And then I think what Gary's super excited about second season is, he's in the first season, he's this sort of wanderer, and then in the second season we get to explore why he's that. So all the actors are excited because second season gets more intense and deeper than which is what you can do in a second season, because we've introduced you to the world and the characters, and that's done, and now we can actually start to go deeper into all of them. So all the cast was excited about the opportunity to sort of like dig in and watch as their characters sort of mature and change through the series.
Absolutely. So second season coming back April 25th, I believe.
That's correct.
How do you guys determine what the number of episodes is going to be? Because the first season is what, 8, I believe, like eight episodes, and now we're coming back
7, right?
I think the first 7.
Okay, maybe okay. And then like I said, was that just like a fixed number based off the material?
Give me a heart attack, Gerald. So were we supposed to do 8? No.
We forget one.
Did we wait, did I leave one? No. Yeah, 7 to 7. Yeah, 7 to 7.
7 episodes. So like I said, determined from like the book trilogy, how are you guys breaking that down in terms of pacing to the number of episodes that you're doing per season?
Well, spoilers in the sense of like we looked at all 3 of Tony's books, and we sort of broke it down and tried to determine, like, what do we want to do? Obviously it's a different medium, so there's different choices to make. And we had a set number of episodes we were aiming for. And what's lovely is that, and it's what's great about streaming, is we could expand it or contract it if we needed to, but I think it was determined early on to sort of, we kind of planned out the entire series from beginning to end. We're not making it up as we go. And we're able to sort of allocate the number of episodes. So that's why we ended up with 7 again. It was just the amount of episodes we needed to sort of tell the story that we sort of had conceived.
Now, Tony, like as far as like the level of reception from the fans, has with the show going into the second season, have you gotten more reception to this? Like, do you feel like more books are flying off the shelf now that the series is now like how's the reception to all of this been for you so far?
It's been good. I mean, look, as a person who reads a lot and goes to see adaptations either on TV or in the theater, I'm always like, all right, is this going to be any, oh, what did they do? Or how did they, or you're like, oh, that's cool how they did that.
Yeah.
So I get that spectrum of responses as well from fans. Some fans who read the books, love the books. They're skeptical of what the show is, or they're bummed out that this scene didn't make it in, or this character didn't make it in. But then you have fans who are like, oh, I love animation and I love the books and I love both. And then you have people who've come to you and are like, I had no idea this was even a book, and I saw the series and I read your book and I loved it. So I think that's the best you can hope for. I think at the end of the day, it holds true to the themes and the reasons why I even wrote the book. And you kind of touched upon them a little bit, Terrell, and it's about family. So the first book is about found family, and that there are people that we meet in our life along our life's journey that become just as meaningful to us as flesh and blood, right? And then the second book and the second season kind of deal more with like, all right, I have family, newly discovered family that is my flesh and blood, and we don't see eye to eye. We see the world through a different lens. We disagree, and do I still love them? And what does that mean? Can I still talk to them? Can I still have them in my life, a place for them in my heart? And I wrote that 10 over 10 years ago, and it's still pretty relevant to today. And so that's the stuff for me that's really important, that stays intact. And it's alchemy. I mean, what works on with me with words and pictures on paper, they have to transmute that into animation and voice acting and scenes and camera shots and lighting. So it's a magic trick, and I think they did a really terrific job at embracing what these books are actually about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, thank you, Tony. Thank you, boss, for taking the time to do this interview with me today. Great show. You caught me. this caught me from episode 1. Like I said,
Oh,
I
that's
can't wait
awesome.
for everybody to watch season 2 on April 25th. You guys did an incredible job. The
Oh,
emotion is definitely there, and I can't wait till everybody gets to see this as well.
Awesome.
awesome. Thanks, Terrell.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Jeff.
guys.